Right. Playing with some settings. That is that one. That is that one. A little warmer. All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this free preview of my new solo show entitled Leaving Trumpland. And it's premiering this week. If you're watching this, then you should know that tomorrow there is a free preview at the location. It's in Amsterdam Noord. It's called De Geuvel Cafe. I really enjoyed performing there a couple weeks ago, and back when it was still summer. And I enjoyed it so much. So yeah, 8 o'clock tomorrow night, Wednesday night in Amsterdam Noord. I'll be reading this stuff as well. Anyway, yeah. Are we all ready to go? I hope so. I'm not going to be doing so much reading your comments, unfortunately, because of the setup that I've got. I'm just going to see if I can refresh that to my technician. And maybe I can tune into this live chat. There it is. All right. So, and is that one on mute? All right. Now I see some of your chats coming in. I'll see if I can get to those next. But anyway, great. Yeah, that's with sound. Hold on a moment. And we're back. So glad that this show is able to happen. No, that's not mute. It has to be mute. No, it's my laptop being muted. Great. Phew. So these shows are happening. I'm really quite pleased that I'm able to do these shows starting in Zutphen on Friday night. And yeah. I hope you can hear me. Terry Vogelaar says, I am not muted. This is good from your end. So if you cannot hear me, then let me know. Anyway, cheers. So Greg Shapiro here, American Netherlander, a little bit of both. Hello. And yeah, trouwens ben ik tweetalig, but I don't like to speak Dutch because it makes my mouth feel sad. And that is how I will start my show in cities like Zutphen. By the way, English is the #1 best language, let's not forget. It's the language of the Bible, so Jesus invented it, and that's why you should vote for me. Anyway, the Dutch language, though, is, especially in the north, what an aesthetic car crash. It's just, with the harde G, which I think developed evolutionarily, as a defense mechanism, because if there were predators nearby, then all Dutch people had to do was say good morning, and it comes out goedemorgen, and good afternoon comes out goedemiddag. It just sounds like angry, choking zombie people, and predators would run away. So that works. But these days it works not to our favor here in the north of the Netherlands with the harde G. They say that of the Romance languages, including Italian, Spanish, French, these are the Romance languages. But I think Dutch should also be included as a Romance language because if you're speaking it properly, then you're exchanging bodily fluids with your speaking partner, which can be very romantic. But not during Corona. That makes it awkward. So we all have to be careful. We're not going to wear masks. I get that. So face shields, maybe, or just speak with the zachte G, like they do in the south of the country. Now, I'm not American, and I don't claim to understand what irony is, but doesn't it seem odd that the original outbreak of coronavirus in the Netherlands was in the part of the country where they have the zachte G? And in the north, they're like, and now there's outbreaks, so we have to be careful. That's why I'm not allowed to speak Dutch indoors, because of the Corona rules. maatregelen. Are you watching this with someone or on your own? I hope you could. Je kon wel je coronamaat regelen. Anyway, I hope everyone is being safe. Don't forget you're supposed to do distancing. Wear a mask if you can. Hand washing. People forget about hand washing. In America, they're saying like, oh yeah, you gotta wash your hands for 20 seconds and you gotta sing the happy birthday song, but if you sing it twice, that's how you know you hit the 20 seconds. It's like, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. If you sing this twice through, then that's the full 20 seconds. Woohoo. So that's good life hack. Don't sing the Dutch version unless you want trouble. That's problematic. Yeah, the Dutch version starts off with Lang zal ze leven, and then you keep getting soap as they sing twee violen en een trommel en een fluit and more soap and love. 100 jaren leven, 100 jaren leven. Hoera, hoera, is de koffie nog niet klaar? Nee, de koffie is nog niet klaar. The coffee's not ready, the tea is ready, and then the soap is up. There's no more soap in your bathroom. We're out of stock in the shops, just like the toilet paper. So please sing the proper happy birthday and be careful out there. Now, obviously, it's a joke. I know a lot of Dutch people don't wash their hands, even during Corona. Do you remember a couple years ago there was that survey that came out asking all European people one question: do you wash your hands after using the toilet? And they asked this question all over Europe, but of the countries I would suspect to score rather low, it was the Netherlands. By far the lowest of all countries. 50% of Dutch people were like, hey, it is the goede bacteria. And it is. It's fine bacteria. We're all very healthy here. You got to keep your immunity strong. But yeah, really? 50%? Or is that just the Dutch direct and Dutch honesty? I don't know. Oh, Matthias wants to know what kind of beer I'm drinking. It is a gift. And I think it's from the Lido. It's little. It's a little beer. Anyway, it's pretty good. So anyway, no, not Belgium, not Italy. It is, yeah, you should wash your hands after going to the toilet. I was at a film shoot yesterday, and the women's room had run out of hand towels well before the men's room. Maybe there's a gender divide here as well, but anyway, look, a strong immune system is great, but it is remarkable. And it's more than once. I had a brush with fame in the men's room at this video shoot. And it was, I shouldn't tell you the guy's name, but let's just say he hosts a large Holland baking contest. But he does voiceovers, and I was there doing the voiceover for it. So, he was in the men's room, he was peeing. I was there like, oh, this is awkward. But I couldn't help saying, hey, you don't know me, but you did the voiceover for this nature documentary, and I'm doing the English version. So I've had your voice in my headphones all morning, and I feel like I know you. So he was super friendly, and he said, oh, you sound like you got a good voice for doing justice to my translation. And so anyway, he was super nice. He shook my hand, and then he went back out to his table for the lunch break. And part of me thought, oh, he shook my hand. I'm never going to wash this hand again. Heel Holland plucked. But I'm kidding. I totally washed my hand. But only the one hand, because 50%. That's the Dutch rule. Only do the one. I respect that. Anyway, as I said, glad that these shows can go on, can go forward, because have people had your work affected by the pandemic, or how many people still have your work affected by the pandemic? How many people have had 100% of their work canceled from one day to the next, and then have the Dutch minister from the VVD say, well, you chose for this, and then had the government offer you some bailout money, and you were lucky to get it because what you do is apparently a linkse hobby, and then the bailout that they offered was just enough to cover half of your monthly payments, So you go to work, try to find work to make up for the other half, but then any money you make has to be paid back to the government, so you might as well sit at home and not try to restart your industry or find work or jobs. Anyone? Just me? And then they give billions of euros to these billion euro companies because they're job creators, I guess. Me, I'm just a job killer. I get it. And I'm lucky to be talking to you here tonight because I know I'm just being selfish. This whole program, this whole show is about me. And maybe I should just cancel my show, which is too bad because then not only do I not have a job, but then the technician won't have a job and the box office won't have a job. The, Horeca, the bar staff, the parking attendant. Yeah, it's too bad. It's a lot of jobs. In a way, I am a job creator. Take that, Eric Vebus. Vebus and Butthead. Yeah, Totho. We'll give you money, but then you have to pay it back right away. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Beavis and Butthead, anyone? Okay. But seriously, I would like some of that sweet bailout money from the government. Now, apparently, the best way to get bailout money from the Dutch government is to pretend you are an airline. So I would like to give you some safety demonstrations before we continue the rest of this video broadcast. Emergency exits are located. Check out where they're located now. Fair warning. Please, what is it? Please be aware that the closest exit may be behind you. In the event of a toilet emergency, please feel free to take a toilet break. I'll just keep talking, but please, due to federal law, no congregating by the toilets is prohibited. And if you work at the White House and masks drop down automatically, please put the mask on yourself before assisting small children or the President of the United States. So, welcome to Leaving Trumpland. Saying goodbye to this voice that I've been doing ever since the wonderful Netherlands second video on Zondag met Lubach. And perhaps, who knows, saying goodbye to President COVID himself. Could Donald Trump lose the election in 2020? Could he win? Could he lose his life and still win the election? I don't know. In 2020, anything is possible. In fact, zombie Trump would arguably do less harm to the country than living Trump. But I will say this, whatever the outcome of the election, I stand ready to congratulate the true winner, Vladimir Putin. Schlipper, my Biden is coming along, don't worry. Now, look, I've had a good run doing my Trump voice. There was actually a time I was buying a houseplant at my local place. And I was like, I've killed so many plants. I'm a plant killer. And he was like, this one is safe. This is the one you want. And you know what? I love your Trump voice. Here, take this. It's on the house. And I thought, yes, this is the level of success that I wanted to reach before Trump would leave office. Exchanging my Trump voice, my great, very great Trump voice, for goods and services. You know that story of how Picasso would pay for a coffee at the cafe by putting a doodle on a cocktail napkin? I felt kind of like Picasso. Now, if only I could pay my mortgage that way. But anyway, so yeah, now I got people asking, what if Trump loses? Ooh, will you be out of a job? And I'm already out of a lot of jobs. So I think it would be only fair if he would join us for the fun. And that's why the name of the show is Leaving Trumpland. Whether he wins or loses, we're all fired. Because look at America right now. We got corona hotspots all across the country. Half the nation is on fire. The other half is underwater. And Trump is there like, if we could just, pick up the country and tilt it a little bit so that the fire would be put out by the water. And it's so obvious. But the Democrats are like, no, because science. I blame the Democrats. And it's so bad now that even my family in America, this is the first time in 25 years that they have stopped asking, when are you coming home? And instead they're asking, maybe we could move to the Netherlands. And I'm telling them, nay, full is full. But in a nutshell, never have I been more proud to be half Dutch. And maybe I'm finally learning the true meaning of the Dutch term Leedvermaak, or German Schadenfreude. Because looking at America right now, I have to think of the quote from the investment guru Warren Buffett. You know this guy, billionaire investor, and when he's looking for companies, he said, I like to invest in a company that is so wonderful, even an idiot could run it, because one day an idiot probably will. And that's America right now. Can the American blueprint withstand the attacks of this guy at the top? I mean, the Constitution seemed like a pretty good idea at the time, but if it gets in Trump's way, he will throw it out of there like an ex-wife. So, I mean, I don't know, it's a riddle for like political science experts. What is political science in Dutch? Keep trying to think of that. Politieke wetenschap of so, yeah. Anyway, this whole year is like some, wish of a political science professor who like wants to answer all those hypothetical questions that they keep at the back of the textbook. But it's like he made a wish, but on a cursed monkey's paw, and now all the wishes are coming true. Now it's not hypothetical anymore. Now they're all coming true. We are living in the part of the history textbook known as Chapter 2020. Politicologie. Politicologie?
Yeah, that's the science.
Politicologie. You gotta sass it. Anyway. But so yes, this is the chapter called 2020. I mean, is it possible for a US president to break up his own country and sell it off to the highest bidder? Turn to chapter 2020. Is it possible for the president to commit more than one impeachable offense and still not be removed from office? Turn to chapter 2020. Is it possible for a president to try to commit an impeachable offense every single day he's in the White House? Turn to chapter 2020 and be careful what you wish for. It might come true. And people keep still being outraged that this shit is going on. We keep being surprised. I'm like, really? Oh my God. Can you believe what he said? Oh, he left Walter Reed Hospital and then he whipped off his mask and he's like, I feel 20 years younger. Don't let Corona rule your life. Oh, can you believe it? Can you believe what you said? Can you believe what you did? Can you believe what you tweeted? By this point, yes, I can believe it. If I have faith in anything at this point, it's that, yes, today can be worse than the day before. And then why are people still sharing it? These are the people who are like, oh my God, this milk is so spoiled. Here, you try it. I'm like, no, man, I'm good. And by the way, look at the day. You don't have to sniff the milk. You don't have to sniff the milk. People, we have to admit we have a Trump addiction. I mean, yes, we hate him and we know he's bad for us, but we can't stop looking at him. We need a version of that alcoholic's prayer, Like, Lord, grant me the courage to resist reading the president's tweets, the serenity of not caring what the president tweets, and the wisdom to not go back real quick and just check what the president tweets. Even Trump supporters would be like, yeah, that sounds pretty good. Joe Biden, I swear, all he needs to win in 2020 is to have a new bumper sticker. Biden, I'm not on Twitter. I think even Trump supporters would be like, yeah, I should probably cut down a little bit. Because we keep focusing on Trump's lies, and that is a thing. But he is very honest about that one thing. He wants to lock up and kick out all these people who don't look like him, which is technically everybody, since Trump himself is not a naturally occurring color. And so many Americans voted for Trump because, I don't know, we treat the voting booth like a slot machine, You get in there, maybe close the little curtain behind you and like, ooh, I'm feeling lucky, woohoo! And yeah, voting machine is like, oh, jackpot, orange. End up with 4 years of that. And now, surprise, surprise, America is looking more and more like one of Trump's casinos. Bankrupt. I mean, America, you wanted a reality show president? Well, congratulations. Now we're all on Survivor. And Trump is famous for his reality show, The Apprentice. Should have been a different reality show. It should have been the Dutch reality show. The one called V is the Mole. Who is the mole? With the twist that the mole is actually the host. Every time. Every season they try to figure out who is the mole, but this time it's like, I think the mole is the host. Your challenge is to get your voting ballot through the United States Postal Service before Election Day 2020, and you have a potential 100 million ballots for the pot. Oh, I'm sorry, you only got through 10. 10 ballots successfully. And waarom? Ik ben de mol. I don't know. I mean, Trump has been called orange, and that's maybe old, but I've seen Trump compared to an Oompa Loompa, and that's not fair to the Oompa Loompas specifically. Because the Oompa Loompas, if anything, are the whiny liberals of the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the Willy Wonka story. Trump, oh man, I have not updated this bit. The whiny liberals in Trump's Wonka factory would be like, Trumpa, lumpa, dumpity doo. All these deaths are because of you. Trumpa, lumpa, dumpity day. No one believes a thing that you say. Whereas Trump is not an Oompa Loompa. Trump is like every one of the naughty kids combined in Willy Wonka. He's like, part Augustus Gloop stuffing his face and a bit Germanic as well. He's like Violet Beauregard who can't keep her mouth shut. He gets all his information from Fox News, so he's part Mike TV. And more than anything, he's like Veruca Salt. I want the economy to rebound now. I want to recover now. I want that goose that lays the golden eggs. Well, there it is. Veruca / Donnie. It's right there down that trap door. Womp, womp. Barack Obama's there on the sidelines. The suspense is killing me. I hope it lasts. And I guess that makes Joe Biden Grandpa Joe. He's not Uncle Joe anymore. He's Grandpa Joe. Grandpa Joe, who was Charlie's grandpa. I know what it's like to feel pushed down. Charlie, I know what it's like. Believe me. That's why we have to get back up. When they push you down, you just get back up. And we were going to get back up with these fizzy lifting drinks, Charlie. It's a little bit Grandpa Joe. It's a little bit Rick Sanchez. We need fizzy lifting drinks. Drink them. Drink them, Morty. You got to drink them. It's going to get better. Come on, we got to... why can't you just use the portal gun? I mean, you got to burp, Charlie. There's got to be some crossover there. All right, if you're in the comments, help me out. I got to pivot to culture shock in the USA. People ask me, don't you ever get homesick for America? And my answer is yes, until I go back home to America. Then I'm like, oh, right, that's pretty quickly. I'm like, oh, that's why I left. I mean, every time I go back to the States, it feels like, all right, part one, I spent a lot of time in a car, in traffic, going from like one suburb to another. So transportation is a thing. If I would want to move over there and, put my kids in schools over there, the education I would want is unaffordable. So, yeah, education. And by the way, the reason I'm visiting my family in the first place and they don't have time to come visit me is because they don't get time off of work. There's no holiday time. So those are my 3 reasons to not go back to America. Education, transportation, and no vacation. And like the last time we went to visit, my son wanted a diner breakfast, and the diner is located at the shopping mall, which is across from the housing complex. So you either have to get in the car and drive for 30 seconds, or you walk there across 6 lanes of traffic with no crosswalk, and everybody's, shooting eye daggers at you like, whoa, we should call the cops. Can we do something about these homeless people? So we get to the diner, and I keep forgetting that the portions are so huge. My son had so much butter and whipped cream on his plate, he made an art project out of it and took pictures. Like, can you believe this? The waitress comes up like, oh, playing with your food, huh? I'm like, yeah, better playing with the food than eating it. I'm getting a heart attack just looking at all this sugar and fat. And of course, this was fun. at the restaurant, there's a TV on in the background because, of course, there is. And it's it's a restaurant where you go to keep up with your news. And CNN is on at this restaurant, which tells you what part of the country it's in, because it's not Fox News. That would be Red State America. This is Metro America, where we watch CNN. But yeah, they're like breaking news, crash landing in Dallas, experts coming up next. Is it still safe to fly? And the reason was because some airplane had a cracked window and had to make an unscheduled landing. And my son is looking at this and he's like, breaking news. Why does it keep saying that? What does that mean, breaking news? And I told him that means in America, the news is broken. And on the way out of the shopping center, we saw some teenagers. We saw some rambunctious young black male teenagers running around, teasing each other, otherwise known as having fun. And I couldn't help make the dark observation, better watch out, the police will think you're rioting or looting, and the next thing you know, you'll be shot. And then 2 weeks after we came back home, left the States, and that same parking lot where we were standing, the police beat up a black kid for suspected shoplifting, and there was a video of the kid, same age as my son, but this kid was lying on the ground, face down, with his hands cuffed behind his back, and the police just beating him with batons, and he's yelling, "Just call my mom, just call my mom." And I'm watching this with my kid, and I'm like, at least they didn't shoot him. That's the best I can say at this point in America. It's like there's a cup full of shit, and the best I can say is, well, at least it's not half full. And all of this was before my stepdad got COVID, because he lives in the part of America where they do show Fox News in the diner. Now, my stepdad, 75 years old, living in a nursing home. And this past summer, it was the 10th of July, I got a call from my sister saying, Dad tested positive for COVID. And my first reaction was, that's awful. But my second reaction was, like, how? Because I get it, nursing homes are susceptible to COVID, but, I mean, isn't that why they're on lockdown? Aren't they? Isn't he basically in quarantine? And the answer was yes, but my sister had gotten a letter from the nursing home in May saying, though the Republicans in Wisconsin have successfully overturned the Democratic governor's health and safety rules, we still advise you not to visit the nursing home and put your relatives' lives in danger. So, of course, my sister complied. But the thing is, my stepdad had a roommate, and the roommate was like, "Make America great again," and freedom. And the roommate had family, and they were taking him out to lunch and bringing him back. And I mean, they were taking him to these places that there's this is Red State America. There was a Walmart like across the parking lot from the nursing home. They were taking him to the Bob Evans down on the farm. They were taking him to the Sizzler Steakhouse with all you can eat buffet and no mask, no problem, because freedom. And we even took the sneeze guards off the salad bar, because sneeze all you want. Prove that we're strong and no virus is gonna take us down. And the guys who were saying, like, face masks, that's what the government wants you to do, because the face masks actually cause corona. And, the corona, which is caused by 5G. And I heard that face masks make you gay. Actual quote. So, I mean, that's how my stepdad got COVID. And that was on the 10th of July. And then on the 14th of July, I got the text, "Dad is gone." And that reaction that you just had is, I suppose, the appropriate reaction to what is trying to be a comedy show, but talking about someone who died of COVID. Now, granted, my stepdad was not a healthy man. There were pre-existing conditions. And a lot of people in Trump country are saying like, well, then he didn't die of COVID. Okay, fine. Let's, for the record, state that as of January, my stepdad was categorized as late stage Alzheimer's. And if I'm being honest, he may have been ready to check out from that already. As my sister put it, he was waiting on the train, but the bus came first. The COVID bus. And he jumped on board. No mask required in that public transit, you know. And so then I did call my sister, and next came the awkward question. How are we going to do the memorial? Like, is there any way to do a live in-person memorial without it becoming some kind of super spreader event? And yeah, I mean, could we do it without endangering the surviving members of, you know, his family and friends? Then again, maybe, you know, it's true. My stepdad didn't really get along well with or like any of the surviving members of his family. So, you know, maybe that's what he would have wanted, was a super spreader event. And I get it. That is a pretty dark joke. But that is definitely what my stepdad would have wanted. He has a pretty dark sense of humor. But fine. My sister and I realized this event would have to be online. The dreaded Zoom memorial. And my sister said, okay, I'll do it on Zoom, but as long as I don't have to host it. And this was what she said, I don't want to be stuck on a Zoom call with a bunch of over 50s trying to figure out how to work Zoom. And I had to point out, you realize that I myself am over 50. And she was like, yeah, and your Zoom skills are terrible. You don't know how to work Zoom. And she was right. I was lucky to do this Zoom call at all. It was like in the middle of the night where we were, because, you know, at 6 p.m. is when they could get everybody together on Zoom, and that's midnight over here. And we were camping at the time, and we couldn't like go back anyway. We got dressed up. Everybody was like wearing black. I'm wearing camping gear. We're like rigging up camping lights and stuff. Oh, yeah, I did not make the Zoom community proud that day, but my sister ended up hosting the Zoom memorial with a screen full of family members, many of them in their 70s. And it was like this family reunion of a lot of my family members, you know, holding the phone up to their ear. I can't hear anything. But I must admit, it was nice. It was nice. It was touching. It was comforting to see everybody again. Specifically my aunt's shoulder and my uncle's ear and the top of my other aunt's head. Should make that uncle's head. Yeah, that's weird. Anyway, but it was just, I don't know. Someone's like down here. I can see fine. Yeah, we can't see you though. Oh, whatever. My mom was there just displaying a patch of gray wall. She was there, but like just off camera. Like, okay. Like half in. You're like, Mom, do you want to be on camera? I'm there texting her, like, actually, I got my brother-in-law, the tech guy, to text. Do you want to just switch your camera off? You can do that, you know? It's kind of odd to be just showing a patch of gray wall. We're like, actually, what device are you on? Are you on your phone or your, like, laptop? Or what are you on? What are you on, Mom? What are you on? Sometimes it's not just like what device, but like what substance. Can you just nope, patch of gray wall. And we were like, okay, that's what you want? That's your preference? And she was like, yeah, that's okay. And that was her statement, I guess. Because you know what? I was checking in on my mom beforehand, like, okay, do you want to say anything? What do you want to say? You were married to him for 20 years. And she went on such a rant, I can basically sum it up as, yes, it was 20 years, 20 prime years of my life that I'll never get back, and another 25 after that trying to clean up his mess. So a patch of gray wall is what we got. And I was like, we'll take it, because there are 5 stages of denial: anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. And in this case, it was denial, anger, 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 and anger. And I was thinking, yeah, maybe it's not such a bad idea that she decided not to speak. And that is the beauty of a Zoom memorial. Because in real life, if you have a live memorial service and then just one person refused to get up and say anything, it would be like, whoa, that's a statement. But, you know, if it's Zoom, then everybody's just like, oh, that's grandma. She doesn't know how to Zoom. But thank goodness my daughter did save me. My daughter's my Zoom coach and savior. And here I was, you know, she was like, oh, we need to be online here. You don't want this Wi-Fi signal. You want that Wi-Fi signal. And you want these settings because she Zooms a lot because she's doing it for class. So thank goodness. And you know, I tried to return the favor because my daughter is now old enough to vote in Dutch and U.S. elections. And since she's got both, you know, she grew up with both passports. She's dual citizen. I thought, well, you gotta, you know, when it's time to vote, you gotta do your thing. And yeah, 2020, the first election where my daughter can vote, and possibly the last election in U.S. history. So, kind of just in time, really. And already, my daughter knows more about voting than I do. I'm like, okay, PDF, here we go. How do you fill in all the spaces? And she's like, no, you don't do it. No. It's just, here you go. She's filling it in for me. And I'm there thinking, man, I've been voting abroad since 1996. I should know how to do this. But she's already better than I am. She got her ballot before I did. And I'm there helping fill her out, you know, trying to keep her faith in democracy. She's like, voting is easy, right? And I made the mistake of being honest. I was like, oh, God, no. No, they make it as hard as possible. Because my daughter's frame of reference is voting in the Netherlands. Now, in the Netherlands, they know where you live. There's like a central database. And now, anytime there's election, you get a voting permit in your mailbox automatically. Sometimes they even sneak up on you. Like, you don't even know there's an election coming up. It just comes through your mailbox like, what is this? What? Oh, Provinciale Staten. Provinciale Staten and Waterschappen. I guess that's an election. Hey, honey, shall we go vote? Oh, gezellig. Sure. But in America, I mean, it's a little different. Yes, they have the centralized database, because when they want to send you a tax bill, they know where to find you. But when you want to go vote, they're like, oh, I'm sorry. What was your name again? I really should keep better track of these things. Yeah, in America, if you want to vote from abroad, you got to apply for a ballot form. Luckily, that is automatically your registration at the same time. If your application for a ballot is accepted, then they will send you a ballot form. But your ballot form has to be sent back with, in my state, you have to send it back with the U.S. Postal Service, which may or may not exist by Election Day. But good news, we got a letter from the U.S. Embassy in the Netherlands saying, don't worry, we can send your ballot back to the United States in our diplomatic pouch of the U.S. State Department, run by Pete Hoekstra and Donald Trump. So if you are unsure about, oh no, I don't know if my vote is going to get counted or not, we offer you the certainty that there's no fucking way your ballot will be counted. If you put your ballot with us in the diplomatic pouch, we give you the certainty that it will be dumped somewhere over the Atlantic Ocean. So anyway, now we are waiting for the ballot to be sent so that we can, no, at this point, my daughter's ballot has been sent back. I am still waiting for permission to use our house printer so that I can print it out and then cut the label of the last page and stick it onto a normal European format A5 envelope, hoping that the A5 envelope will not fuck up the sorting machine in the United States, even though I think it will, and it will be disqualified. But anyway, I do want to teach her that voting does make a difference. And the one time that I'm pretty sure it made a difference was in the primaries. In Dutch, the voorverkiezingen. And this year, I I took my daughter to vote. Actually, her first election was the primary election, the Democratic primary in 2020. I took her to vote on the 3rd of March. That was Super Tuesday this year. And this was back when we weren't sure if it was going to be Biden or Bernie or Kamala or Elizabeth Warren. And yeah, oh man, that was the day that all the Democrats like teamed up to pull out and throw their support behind Biden because they didn't want it to be Bernie. That's just party politics. It is, literally. Even though the party signed up to a bunch of rules that Bernie demanded in 2016, still Bernie didn't get a lot of votes. I sent an angry tweet. Yeah, no, it doesn't count. And yeah, party politics. Well, maybe it would have helped if Bernie was part of the party, because he never did join the Democratic Party. Still an independent. And I don't know, maybe he's the true Democrat. But fine. I was about to vote for Bernie, and I couldn't make up my mind. But I was not gonna tell my daughter how to vote. That's for sure. I just told her, like, here's some guidelines on how to vote, because there's always, it's like the Oscars, I don't know, or like the award ceremonies. This is the one I want to win, but this is the one I think is gonna win. So that's called voting strategically versus voting your conscience or voting with your heart. And I said, I am voting strategically. I'm not necessarily voting for the one that I want to win, but I'm voting for the person, the candidate that I think has the best chance of beating Trump in the fall. That's voting strategically. So we went to vote, and we were like, who did you vote for? And I said, I voted for Elizabeth Warren. Yeah, because Elizabeth Warren was exciting for me. Actually, she was also the one that, if I was voting with my heart, she was also the one I most wanted to win. Because she was like Hillary Clinton if Hillary was programmed to be human-like. Even now, Joe Biden is like, I've got a plan for that. Yeah, I think I know whose plan that is, Joe. But that's the dream team, you know? If Joe Biden gets in the White House, I can't wait to see Elizabeth Warren on the cabinet in some position and fucking shit up for people who need to be fucked up. Anyway, so I voted for Elizabeth Warren. Yeah! And when did she drop out of the race? The next day. My daughter, great strategy, Dad. Oh, I guess that's how you vote strategic, is it? And the truth was, yeah, it wasn't strategic. I voted with my heart. Elizabeth was passionate about going after big multinationals, like the big pharma companies, which is ironic because the way she campaigned, it was like she enjoyed the use of some pharmaceuticals. She was there with her rainbow feather boa, like, yeah, I just want to take selfies with everybody. And she did. But anyway, oddly, when we were leaving for the primary, my daughter said, oh no, I forgot my passport. So we had to go back and get it. And then it turns out we didn't even need the passports to go vote. They just had a list of names. And yeah, they were making a statement about voter ID laws. Because in America, like in the state of Wisconsin, in 2016, it became legal for states to introduce these weird voter ID laws. Now, it was only 200,000 people that were stopped from voting because they didn't have the proper ID, and they weren't informed that they needed to have that. But anyway, it was only 200,000 people. Trump won by 23,000. So whatever, you know, in states like Texas, you can vote with a National Rifle Association membership card. College ID? No, sorry. Which sounds bad. But then again, it's a pretty good deal because a gun is a lot cheaper than a college education in Texas or anywhere. But yeah, fine. So that's why the Democrats abroad were making a big statement. We are not going to have these draconian voter ID laws where you have to have a government issued photo ID like a passport. I was like, if there's one prerequisite for voting from abroad, isn't it? Yeah, you probably have a passport. I went back home to get mine. Anyway, fair enough. Party politics. So the dumbest thing is with my strategy, the global primary in the year 2020 was not only on the 3rd of March. It was from the 3rd until the 10th of March, and I could have waited. I could have waited one more day, and my vote would have actually counted. But no, I threw it away. I wanted to make sure that I did my primary vote on the first possible day, which was the 3rd of March, because that was Super Tuesday. And I wanted to take my daughter to the place where everybody was voting. And so peer pressure, basically. Peer pressure is what guided my decision making on this momentous historic occasion. Everyone else was doing it, was my rationale. So not only did I not vote strategically, I voted with the same rationale that a 14-year-old girl has. Meaning the good news is my daughter is now 5 years older and more mature than me. Right. All right. I'm going to skip that bit and I'm going to talk about another topic. We're doing great on time. People keep asking, why do you think Donald Trump's so popular? And, you know, it's because he projects strength, for one thing, like whipping off his mask. Whipping off his mask and like, I'm healed, I'm cured, I'm symptom free. It's not, you're not wearing it for you. You're wearing it for everyone around you who is now being infected. And somewhere you could just hear Anthony Fauci slapping his forehead. Poor Dr. Fauci. He was just on Dutch TV reminding people, keep your distance, wash your hands, and wear a mask. And it used to be the fourth thing, which was don't touch your face. But yeah, they had to give up on that rule ever since Fauci had to stand there and watch Trump talking. Anyone who wants a test can get a test, but it's not my job to give people tests, Fauci. So anyway. Now, the other reason that Trump is popular is because of this headline that keeps popping up that American demographics are changing. America is becoming minority white. And that means demographically, in the next 25 years, America will, for the first time ever, become minority white. And a lot of white people in America are like, we know how minorities are treated. That is not good news. And yet the professor who came out with that research was now saying, what if I was wrong? Because apparently there was a catch in the 2010 census that said for the first time ever, people were allowed to tick more than one box for race. So the numbers are off. And now it's much more about identity or mixed identity. So there are people who are like, well, my mom is Jewish, but my father is from Thailand or whatever. So I identify as white and Jewish and Asian. So that's, more mixed. Which is like my neighborhood in Amsterdam, which is great. It's fine. Everybody talks about, oh God. It's funny, actually, how Trump is like, I don't want to wear a mask and I don't like immigrants. And in the Netherlands, you get Mark Rutte, who's like, yeah, we don't need to wear masks and I'm not crazy about immigrants. Syrian refugees. They're stuck in Moria, in Greece, whatever. Should everybody take a couple and then we can get them out of there? But everybody's like, I don't want them in my backyard. I don't want them living next door to me. Well, I am proud to say that as of 2020, I have Syrian refugees living next door to me in my mixed neighborhood. And they are so annoying because they keep wanting to feed me. They can't work is the thing. So they're like studying up on the language and the norms and values and whatever. And every time I see him, like, you come, we feed you. I'm like, all right, back off, 1.5 meters. But it's a challenge to communicate, and I'm trying to like teach him some language. I'm teaching him some Dutch. I'm teaching him some English, and then they start communicating back. And it starts in English, maar dan vervolgd in het Nederlands. So it's like half Dutch, half English. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, you'll fit right in. Actually, that's most of Dutch society in my life anyway. And I helped them put up some curtains, and they were like, okay, now you have to come, and we'll make you food. Because they didn't even have blackout curtains, whatever. That's like, you gotta be able to sleep. So Other than that, it's like sleep deprivation. It's awful. Anyway, so I showed up and they were like, "Oh, you're right on time," and I was like, "Yeah, that's right. Afspraak is afspraak. So regels zijn regels. You're fitting right in." And then yeah, so I sit down with the dude while the wife is making the food, and he's like, "The woman makes the food, but the man eat the food." I'm like, "Okay, that's maybe you want to keep that part to yourself. Don't say the quiet part out loud." But I don't know. It's more yeah, they're doing fine. They're doing great. There was a bike out front that was like falling apart. You know that one bike where it just sits there and starts decaying, and you know it's in it. The tires are flat, the chain is off, the seat goes missing. You're like, oh come on, this is just an eyesore. As a neighbor, I'm like, that's just bad neighborhood policy. And
Sorry.
so yeah, talked to my neighbor at one point, like, whose bike is this? Do you know whose bike this is? And he's like, yes, it is mine. I felt bad. He said, yeah, I would bike more, but it's difficult for me to bike because of my leg. I was like, oh, what's wrong with your leg? He said, yes, I was escaping from Syria and they shot me. And he showed me the entry point in the back of his calf and like the exit wound. And I was like, yeah, right, because it goes right through. And so, you know, like, well, that's fine. Your bike can stay. If that's the worst, I have to. Then there's like, city came by and put stickers on all the bikes, like, this bike should leave. And he was like, what does that sticker mean? I said, well, that means the city's going to remove your bike. So, you know what he did? He just removed the sticker. Like everyone does. And I thought, ingeburgerd, you'll fit right in. Because a mixed neighborhood is what you need. A mixed neighborhood is not bad. When it's too homogenous, that's a problem. I have lived in a neighborhood that's too white. I didn't like it. I've also lived in a neighborhood that is too Muslim. And I didn't like that either. Not because it was Muslim, but because it was too homogenous. I was living in a largely Turkish and Moroccan neighborhood on 9/11. And as the towers were falling, I heard people in the garden outside my apartment that were cheering. Not because of 9/11, but because Fatima was turning 7 and having a birthday party. And they had no idea what was going on. And you know, oh, I heard people cheering and celebrating. Yeah, you might have, because they didn't. I mean, and that's awkward birthday for Fatima now. But just gotta keep an open mind, and we'll try to make it through this. Because in retrospect, I have to admit, like, 9/11, I wouldn't have thought there was any upside, but if you keep an open mind, and I'll tell that story. I think I told this last week as well, but this is going to be the part of the payoff. All right. There was a Snickers commercial, and I did this commercial for 2001, and the concept was there were two airport security dudes playing with a metal detector, like a hand metal detector, and they're going woo, 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 making a beat, and then dropping some beats, like, you know, freestyling, yeah. I'm not gonna do that here because that would be cultural appropriation. Anyway, it was not great, but it worked. The concept sold. Snickers was like, yeah, we're gonna buy it. Yeah, and then like a passenger comes and they're like, oh, we're caught. So yeah, that was the tagline. Snickers gives you energy. What you do with it is your business. Anyway, so this, yeah, they were saying you'll get a buyout from all of the EMEA region, which is EMEA, Europe, Middle East, Africa. And then 9/11 happened, and they were like, whoa, this commercial is pulled from the airwaves. We're not going to show this in Europe. It, like, you know, tested for a week, and everybody was like, what, you awful people. And yet they also ran this commercial in the Middle East, like in Dubai and, I don't know, Bahrain and in Saudi Arabia. And they thought it was hilarious. They were like, how, oh, Quran, you're telling me The week after 9/11, you put out a commercial with American airport security dudes fucking up and goofing off on the job. Hilarious. These were the same people who were, putting out headlines on 9/11 like, local boy makes a yeah, local boy does good. These were jokes we could not make on 9/11, by the way. Making jokes like, New York radio no longer allowed to play It's Raining Men. I know the show gets fairly dark. I'm sorry, but anyway, but we did end up getting paid for that Snickers commercial. So again, just keep an open mind, and maybe we'll get through this. All right, we're heading up on the 1 hour mark. I guess I will just prove that I am turning truly Dutch by admitting that I have I don't know if I'm more American or Dutch anymore. I mean, but the thing is, as when I'm feeling mostly Dutch, I have developed this irrational, unjustifiable, and passionate hatred of Belgium. It just kicks in as soon as you cross the border. I don't know. Every time I go to Belgium, I have an awful experience. I've tried to like it. And we have open borders in Europe for the most part. You go across a border, there's no border control, there's no border crossing. But as soon as you cross the border from Dutch roads into Belgian roads, you feel it. You feel it right away. Even if you're asleep in the passenger seat, Belgian road, you got Dutch road is like smooth as a baby. Belgian road is, So people like to complain about the Netherlands. Oh, the trains aren't always on time. Yeah, well, if you want to appreciate the Netherlands, just visit Belgium for 5 minutes and try to get a train. Only in Belgium have I seen road signs that say, alle richtingen, andere richtingen. It's like all directions, other directions. Only in Belgium have I seen a stop sign next to a green light and a traffic signal. I don't get it. Only in Belgium have I seen the entrance ramp to a highway that is not on the right side of the road, but on the left. And the sign says no GPS. Like, just abandon GPS, all ye who enter here. And we were like, it was a roundabout into an entrance ramp, and it seemed like the entrance ramp was going the wrong way down the highway. Is that possible? But no, just before it went up to highway level and then under and then around and then merged on to the right side again. And this was like a newly constructed thing. That's infrastructure in Belgium. It's like looking at the Lego set that was built by the stoner dude who was like, this would be cool. That is Belgium in a nutshell for me. It's just, that should be their national symbol, is the shrug emoticon. Is this safe? We were driving back this summer. Like, we never stop in Belgium. That's just a rule. You need to fuel up before you enter the Belgian, but you need to fill your tank and empty your bladder and do not stop in Belgium. Trying to find a tank station to fill up and oh, there's one on the other side of the highway. Oh, 20 kilometers more. There's one. It's closed. And so we were just about to escape the Belgium and go back into civilization. And we saw a BMW in the right lane, a convertible BMW, and it had the top down. And in addition, no door, no passenger side door. It was just that's Belgium. He was in a crazy car chase, and I guess a truck ripped that shit off, Smokey and the Bandit style. Or maybe he did it on purpose. I don't know. The ventilation is good in fighting Corona, so I put the top down, and then I ripped the door off to be extra safe. He's doing 130 kilometers per hour on the highway. I don't know. And I realized, why do I have such a deep felt subconscious hatred of Belgium? It's the United States. It's two totally different countries and cultures slapped together that want nothing to do with each other, and that is America. Belgium hasn't had a functioning government since 2 years, 3 years ago. That's America now. And so I will tell you the rest of this story later, but that's all the time I've got for this episode. That's about the 1 hour mark. And Leaving Trumpland starts in free preview tomorrow night in De Keuvel in Amsterdam Noord. And I'll start in Zutphen on Friday night and Arnhem on Saturday night. And then got a couple shows next Tuesday as well in Delft and Capelle aan de IJssel, Rotterdam. And we'll go from there, right? Okay, so I see a lot of comments that are coming in. Here are some of the latest ones. Uh-oh, anime lover, you keep getting blocked. I can't really reach that right now, but anyway. Right, thank you for watching, folks. And yeah, Belgians are famous for chocolate and guns, I guess. But, oh yeah, hey, and by the way, if you are just tuning in, to the whole political thing. Kamala Harris will start debating what, tomorrow night? No, this week basically. Tomorrow night, we'll see it on Thursday in Europe, and that should be more of a shit show for Mike Pence specifically. So I think that'll be exciting. Mike Pence will be there, keeps talking about Republicans have a majority. America is just a fundamentally majority country. We have a mandate. But when Mike Pence says mandate, I'm pretty sure he's talking about tapping shoes between the stalls in the Republican men's room. Anyway, but so, yeah, I'll give you some more jokes and respond to more of your comments, and I'll try to do that in the comments. Thank you for all of your chat. And yeah, I'll probably try to do some more tryouts next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you for Leaving Trumpland, which is the Dutch tour, and Lock Him Up, which is my two-man show at Boom Chicago, which also starts this weekend. All right, thanks, guys. Bye.